People have, in America, many of them think the United States Supreme Court is a little Congress, that it's political. And that's unfortunate because that means we lose confidence in an independent judiciary. I'm not saying it's true, but perception is important in government. Do you think having cameras in the courtroom would help?
Senator, that's an issue that I've thought about. And let me just give you a little perspective on our court. We've gone to same-time audio in our court. We started with release of tapes much later, then release of tapes later in the week, then release of tapes later in the day, and now we're same-time audio in our court. And I think that's been that's worked at the Court of Appeals level for us. I know nominees who've sat in this chair in the past have expressed the desire for cameras in the courtroom only to get to the Supreme Court and really change their positions fairly rapidly. So that gives me some humility about making confident assertions about that. And of course, joining a team of 9 means thinking about that if I were fortunate enough to do so, in hearing the perspectives of why did they change their position, what's their view. I will say one thing about that I do think is important. Oral arguments are a time for the judges to ask testing questions of both sides, and there's a perception sometimes, and you see it in the media, that the oral argument, Judge X is leaning this way at oral argument. I really can't stand that kind of commentary about oral argument because at least have always approached oral argument as the time to ask tough questions of both sides, and I do sometimes wonder whether people would get the wrong impression of oral argument. Now, I've always thought too, though, the announcement of the Supreme Court decisions, when they issue the opinions, that's a different point in time when if there...
What did you say Justice Marshall said? People aren't fools? Well, you have to trust the people sometime, Judge.
And as to the decisions, right, that's when the court is announcing its decision, and that is the decision of the court. Oral argument, lawyers people are asking tough questions of both sides, and sometimes you would think, oh, Judge X thinks this because of the oral argument question.
I understand.
But the decisions, I think that's, let's put it this way, if I were starting, I think I'll stop there.
Well, I get your point, and they're good arguments on both sides, but I do think that the American people have lost confidence in the institution of the Supreme Court and Congress and the presidency, and it's ironic, given my generation, that the only institution that the American people I think have a lot of confidence in right now is the military, which wasn't true in my era.
Well, that shows.
But you know, you got to trust the people, and too many up here in the Beltway don't.
I agree with your general.
You know, they don't. The people don't read Aristotle every day, but they get it. They'll figure it out. All right, let me ask you a couple more.